Yai dai 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 yai dai dai yai dai dai yai dai yai dai dai yai dai dai yai dai dai yai dai yai dai dai yai dai dai Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi.
Shabbat Shalom, Carl. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Congregation B'nai Israel's celebration of Shabbat. We begin page 10.
Yedi nefesh av harachaman mishoch avdach eretzona yarutz avdach kmo ayal ishtachaver muhadarach ki yerev lo yedidutach minofet tzuf vechotam Adonai ziv haolam nafshi cholat avatach ana elna rifana la behadrot la Noam zivach az titchazer v'tirapeh v'hayta lach shivchat olam yai-da-da-da-da-yai 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 Follow me to Kabbalat Shabbat, page 11, and come. Let's go sing to Adonai. Lechod niranina, lechod niranina, lechod niranina, l'Adonai. Lechod niranina, lechod niranina, lechod niranina, l'Adonai. Naria, Naria, l'tzoyishenu, מקדמה פנה בתודה נריע צוישנו בזמירות נביאלו לכו נרננה לכו נרננה לכו נרננה לאדוני לכו נרננה לכו נרננה לכו נרננה לאדוני כי הגדול כי הגדול עליי מלך הגדול כי הוא אלוהינו. Page 12 at the marker. 40 שנה הכות בדור ואומר עם טועה לבבם והם לא ידעו דרכי אשר נשבעתי ויפים יבואון אל מנוחתי. יאי די 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 יאי די די יאי די די יאי די יאי די יאי די יאי די יאי די יאי Sing a new song to Adonai. Shiru Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru Adonai, Kol Haaretz. Shiru Adonai, Baruch Shemo, Basru Miyom, Liyom Yeshuato, Sapu Vagoyim Kevodo. בכל המין נפלאותיו כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד נורא הוא על כל אלוהים כי כל אלוהי עמים אלילים ואדוני שמיים עשה הוד ואדם לפניו עוז ותפארת במקדשו עבו לאדוני משפחות עמים עבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז עבו לאדוני כבוד שמו שאו מנחה ובואו לחצרותיו השתחוו לאדוני בהרות קודש יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו יעלו שדי היי 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 יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו יעלו שדי היי 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 אז ירננו כל עציה אז ירננו כל עציה אז ירננו כל עציה אז ירננו כל עציה יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו יעלו שדי איי 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 לפני אדוני קיווה לשפוט הארץ ישפוט תבל בצדק וימים באמונתו. Page 15 אדוני מלך תגר הארץ ישמחו עם רבים ענן וערפל סביבם צדק ומשפט לכל כיסו מסביב צרה, היי, ורקבת ואתה ותחל זרו על הצדיק ולשרי לב שמחה, שמחו צדיקים באדוני והודו לזכר קודשו. On page 17, sing to Adonai another new song. Yai-dai, yai-dai, yai, yai-dai, 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 שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, כי נפלאות עשה, הושיע לו מינו וזרוע קודשו. Call out to Adonai, all the earth, break out in joyful singing. Sing to Adonai to the music of the guitar. Guitar and voices making music together with horns and shofar cries, trumpet the presence of the sovereign Adonai. Let the sea and all that is in it roar, the earth and all who inhabit it thunder. Let rivers clap hands while mountains sing in harmony, greeting Adonai who comes to judge the earth, judging the world with justice and the nations with truth. Lifnei Adonai kiva lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel b'tzedek ve'amim b'mesharim. If you're following, Lev Shalem, page 20. Moses and Aaron among the God's priests, and Samuel among those who called upon the divine name, called to you, and you answered them. Moshe ve'Aaron b'Kohanav, u'Shemuel b'Korei Shemo, Korim el Adonai ve'hoyanim bi'amud anan yidaber alehem, shamru edotav v'chot natan lamo. Adonai Eloheinu ata anitam, El nosei hayta lahem v'nokem al alilotam. Romimu Adonai Eloheinu Veishtachavu Lehakodsho Romimu Adonai Eloheinu Veishtachavu Lehakodsho Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romimu Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Mizmor LeDavid Havu l'Adonai B'nei Elim Havu l'Adonai Kavod va'oz Havu l'Adonai Kevod Shemo Ishtachavu l'Adonai B'hadrat Kodesh Kol Adonai Al Hamayim El HaKavod Hirim Adonai Hamayim Hamayim Rabim Kol Adonai Ba'koach Kol Adonai Behadar Kol Adonai Shover Aratzim Vayeshaber Adonai Razeh Halvanon Vayakidem Kimo Egel Levanon Vesirion Kimo Ben Remim Kivod Ben Remim Kol Adonai Chotzeh Lavodesh Kol Adonai Yachil Midbar Yachil Adonai Midbar Kadesh Kol Adonai Yecholeh Ayalot Vayechesov Yavrod Ulechalo Kulo Omer Kavod Kulo Omer Kavod Adonai lama bu yashav vayeshev Adonai melech liolam Adonai yos li'amo yitein Adonai yevorech et amo v'shalom yai 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 That having been our psalm for a Friday night, we turn to page 23 to greet the Sabbath bride. Lecha dodi liekrat kala penei Shabbat Nikabla Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad Hishmianu el hamiyuchad Adonai echad U'shmo echad L'shem u'tiferet v'litila Lecha dodi Likrat kala penei Shabbat nikabla Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha ki mekor habracha merosh mikedem nesucha סוף מעשה מחשבה תחילה לך דודי ויקרא קהלה פני שבת נקבלה מקדש יש מלך עיר מלוכה קומיצי מתוך אפיך רב לך שבט בעמק הבכה והוא יחמו עלייך חמלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. Page 25, please. לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. והיו לי שיסון שעושי ורחקו כל מבולי יסיס עלייך אלוהי כמסוס חתם על כלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. יומין ושמאל תפרוצי בית אדוני תעריצי על יד איש בין פרצי ונשמחה ונגלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. We rise to face the doorway to greet the Sabbath bride, the Sabbath queen. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. A song for Shabbat. מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון לזמר לשמך עליון להגיד בבוקר חסדך ומונך בלילות עלי עשה ועלי נבל עלי גאון בכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון. כי שימחתני אדוני בפעליך במעשה ידיך רנן. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון. צדיק אתה מה יברח יברח צדיק אתה מה יברח צדיק אתה מה יברח יברח צדיק אתה מה יברח. כארז בלבנון יזכה כארז בלבנון יזכה כארז בלבנון יזכה יזכה כארז בלבנון יזכה כארז בלבנו יזכה, כארז בלבנו יזכה, יזכה. עדותיך נאמנו מאוד, לביתך נאווה קודש אדוני ליאורך ימים. And that's Kabbalat Shabbat. Those in mourning or observing a yahrzeit, I invite to join me on page 30 for Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbi.
Amen.
B'alma divra kiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh. B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uv'izman kariv yimaru. Amen.
Amen.
Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach v'olam olmeo maya. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei dekudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'alma v'yimaru.
Amen.
Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimaru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'yimaru. Amen. Our teacher, Rabbi Spitz.
Yeshikoach.
Thank you.
You know the story of the community, and they asked, how much does this tablet cost with all this writing on it? And God said to the Israelites, it's free. They said, well, if that's the case, we'll take 2. I mention that because this is the rare Shabbat, not so rare, in which we have not 1, but 2 parshiot, 2 different readings from the Torah. There are 54 parshiot, and you might, of course, note that that's more than the weeks of the year. But that's because if there is a holiday, like Passover coming up, and one of those days, as there will certainly be, is on a Shabbat, rather than reading the continuity of the Torah readings, you read in honor of the holiday, so that there are more parshiot than weeks, but more than that. There are 7 times in the course of a year in which parshas may be combined. That enables on a leap year there to be enough Shabbatot for when it's not a holiday for each week a different reading. So that's a little overview about numbers and parshiot. Numbers are important to this week's Torah reading. Vayakel means, and they gathered. Pekudei means, and there was an accounting. Earlier, in our Torah readings, we've read about God's command to build a mishkan, a tabernacle. In Vayakel, the gathering of all the materials are presented, and then in Pekudei, Moses reviews what was contributed. And the explanation of the rabbis is that even Moses, the great leader, what made him great was humility. What made him great was accountability. To say, this is the details of what you brought. Let me tell you that I lived up to being scrupulous in how I administered my duties. I have a beloved teacher and friend, Peter Pitzley. He's the father of bibliodrama. And I was talking to him about a month ago. He's not only a remarkable poet, former professor of literature, a former psychodramatist, but the father of what's called bibliodrama, entering into the text and seeing yourself in the text. And he was telling me, we were talking about a month ago about fundraising, and he said, I was once in a synagogue, and it happened to be that it was the Torah reading that dealt with the contributions, and with a unique moment. The moment, he said, that I would imagine that of all the moments in Moses' life, on his epitaph, he would have chosen perhaps this moment to represent one of the greatest achievements of his life, one of the greatest joys of his life. For there is one verse in the Torah reading that indeed is in Hebrew bolet. It sticks out, namely, a verse that says that Moses had to say to the Israelites regarding the nidivot, the free-willed offerings, he had to say to the Israelites, stop. There is more than enough for what's required to build this tabernacle. All the needs were met. Stop bringing. It's the first recorded fundraising effort that I'm aware of in any religious literature, in which the people are asked, give of yourselves. Allow this moment to be a moment in which the construction itself will be free-willed. When the tabernacle is built, there will be annual, if you will, taxes for its maintenance. But in the construction, it's free-willed. And such is the moment of expressing a desire to honor God, to honor belonging to community, that Moses will say, stop. And Peter Pitzeli said, if I was Moses, that quality of love displayed by the people would represent my moment of aspiration, my moment of joy, my moment even of achievement. And so I pause to acknowledge that moment. That's part of Vayakhel, the first of the two Parshiot, the first of the two books that we read from tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'll talk about Pekudei. But a segue. I had the privilege, before services tonight, to look over the booklet that congregants will receive on Sunday, which is the book of testimonials for our immediate past president, Mark Golden. And as I look through the pages, you can see it's quite substantial. The words of gratitude to Mark, which are so well deserved, moved me. But more, I know that each of these ads costs money, and that it's a thick book, all the more in this time where physically we have been separated. Reminded me of the gift of Congregation B'nai Israel to me and to so many that are members of this community. And more, I looked at the back of the book. I pause to note that on the back are the names of families who have linked their estate, their will, with a legacy gift. There are fully 76 families who at this point in Congregation B'nai Israel have made a pledge through the Community Foundation of Orange County to make a legacy gift to the synagogue. I pause to acknowledge Wendy Aronson, a congregant who's the executive director of our thriving community foundation. Well, this book, this event, which took so much effort by volunteers, On Sunday night, members of our community will be getting a dinner delivered and a cocktail to their homes, because normally this event would be in person and we would be gathered in this extended synagogue space. My wife and I look forward to the cocktail and the dinner and more, to being able to feel the pride of belonging, of a community of volunteers whose hearts are open. Nadav libo, it says in the request to bring offerings. And there's a word used in that request. In that first description, the parsha was called truma, an offering. And the rabbis say that the same root as offering is elevation, lehirim, to raise up. That when we open our hearts and give of ourselves, whether with our financial contributions, with our volunteer efforts, we link ourselves across generation to our ancestors in the desert who had to be told, enough. We're not there to say enough. I don't know if there have been many enoughs ever after in fundraising. But in creating community, there is indeed always more to give. Ribono Shel Olam, Master of the universe, on this, the Shabbat of Vayakel Pekudei, we celebrate the gift of community, constituted by members who give of themselves in time, in voice, in dollars, in reaching out in embrace. May we celebrate, knowing that this too is a moment of achievement and joy. Amen.
Amen. Our call to prayer, page 39a. Yai dai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai dai, yai dai, yai dai 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 dai. Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Voed.
Baruch Adonai hamevorach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch atah Adonai, our God, sovereign of time and space, whose word brings the evening dusk, whose wisdom opens the gates of dawn, whose understanding changes the day's divisions. Living and ever-present God, may you rule, be with us forever and ever. Baruch atah Adonai, who brings each evening's dusk.
Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvaot shmo, El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu leolam vaed. Baruch atah Adonai
Shemo.
Hamariv Aravi.
Amen.
Page 40. Avat olam Bet Yisrael Amcha Ahavto Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadita Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shochveinu u'v'kumeinu nasiach b'chukecha v'nizmach b'divrei Toratecha u'b'mitzvotecha li'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu v'yorech yameinu v'yorech yameinu והם נגד יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמי, ברוך אתה אדוני.
שמו.
אוהב עמו ישראל.
Amen.
41. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. והיו שמור ותשמע לעצותי. Adonai Elohechem Emet. Let's read together in English, 43b and 44. You proclaimed the covenant on the seventh day. You declared it and decreed it. We listened and heard it. You loved this day we inherited, delighting in its remembrance, and began its command with the word, remember, Zachor. From the time you bestowed it, joy filled the hearts of Jeshurun, the people you redeemed. Securing the cause of righteousness, you exalted Shabbat as a sign between us forever. In 6 days your world was formed. On the seventh day you rested, and on this day, Israel, your people rest. To honor your name, they sing songs of praise to the one deserving of praise, willingly accepting God's sovereignty. Then Moses, Miriam, and the people Israel joyfully sang to you, who is like you, Adonai, among the mighty? Who is like you, adorned in holiness, revered in praise, working wonders? They sang Micha Mocha, Micha Mocha, Ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha, Nedar Ba'kodesh, Shora Tehilo, Oh Sefele, Noah Tehilo, Oh Sefele. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקר ים לפני משה. זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גל ישראל. Page 45. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu Lechaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu Lechaim Ushmo Tzeiteinu Uvoeinu Lechaim U'Shalom Me'ata v'ad olam Ufros aleinu Sukat shlomecha Baruch atah Adonai Hapores kat shalom Aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael V'al Yerushalayim v'al kol yoshvei tevel. Page 46. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael Shabbat La'asod et HaShabbat Ledoratam berit olam Beni uven b'nei Yisrael oti leolam Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai el hashamayim v'et haaretz uvayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash Yitkadav Yitkadash Shemei Rabbi
Amen.
Yom Adivra Kirutei V'yamlich Malchutei B'chayechon u'v'yomechon V'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala u'vizman kariv yimeru Yehei Shmei Rabba mevorach Le'olam u'almei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach V'yiba'ar v'yiromam v'yitnaseh v'yirhadar V'yitaleh v'yithalal Shmei Kudusha Leilam yukal birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Ta'miron b'yalma v'meru Amen.
So in my little teaching, I mentioned that Peter Pitzeli is the father of bibliodrama, which again is the invitation to enter into a story of the Bible and see yourself there. Here's what he did with this Vayakel. He said to the people, see yourself as one of those Israelites in the desert. And Moses has asked you to bring offerings to help build the tabernacle. What's the object that you've chosen to bring? And what does the object and the giving it over to God's sanctuary mean to you? And so as we get ready now for our reflection, our Amidah, perhaps allow yourself to go to that place. See yourself in the midst of this time for reflection as one of the Israelites, Moses having invited you to make a contribution as your heart calls on you to do. What is it you would bring and why? Our private prayer and our time for reflection, 47 to 52.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, וימרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יושבי תבל ימרו אמן. Page 53. ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויכול אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי מקום מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. יקרא ויתקדש שמי רבה, וילמד דברי וימליך מלכותי בחייכם ובימיכם ובחיי כל בית ישראל, מעגל ובזמן קורא ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבו מבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, וירדף ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשא בריחו, לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תשבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמא ויאמרו אמן. תתקבל צלות הון אבות הון דכל ישראל, קדם אבוהון דבשמיא ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלום רב מן שמיא וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ויאמרו amen.
Carl and I are blessed to have children, but you don't have to have children of your own, however, to share in a blessing for children who you impact, whether they're extended parts of your family, whether they're the students that you see in the public and private schools in our midst.
That's lovely.
Or in general. So I invite each of us to bless both our own children and more expansively. We say for men, for males, Yesim Cha Elohim K'Ephraim V'Cheminasha. For daughters, Yesimech Elohim K'Sara Rivka Rachel V'Leah. And now, in Hebrew, our blessings. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. And a blessing over wine, Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'hava uv'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'ma'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikrahei kodesh Zecher letziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'charta ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני המקדש השבת.
Amen. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות אדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונה. ואנחנו לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרום. הוא אלוהינו אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת. אינו ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Kaddish Yatom is our community prayer for those who have passed, as we recall the following from our community: Harris Rock, Gertrude Tabak, Herman Goodman, Chana Anagovsky, Joseph Deutsch, Lois Pascal, Marsha Dragutsky, Ray Goldberg, Lena Bloomstein, Max Kirsch, Bernice Kaufman, Joseph Lair, Samuel Brodsky, Roslyn Ordinovsky Reinhard, Sandra Vid Kornreich, Elizabeth Bowen, Abe Sklar, and Aaron Barnett. If you are observing a yurtzeit, the memorial for a loved one, or are in mourning, please join together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbi.
Amen.
B'alma divra kirute v'yamlich malchute. B'chayechonu v'yomechonu v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. And b'agalau v'zman kari v'imuramein. Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach leolam omeo maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitrumam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal. Shemei dekucha barichu le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran b'alma v'imramein Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imramein Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'kol yoshvei tevel V'imru. Amen. I want to extend some birthdays. Today is Dr. Stan Gallant's 83rd birthday, which means, Stan, if you're watching, that this would be your second bar mitzvah Shabbat. Because in our tradition, 70 represents a fullness of years, and 83, second bar mitzvah. We also wish a happy birthday to Dahlia Podwall today, and a couple birthdays for tomorrow, Jeffrey Poonim and Sheila Stopnitsky, one of our volunteers who was active in planning Sunday's event and always an uplift for all of us to be with. And a happy anniversary tomorrow to Sherry and Fred Galante. We have much to learn, and we have a website, www.cbi18.org. Our website has our events this coming week, including services tomorrow morning at 9:30. Make a note. Tomorrow, Carl, our Balat Tfilah, Amy Robinson-Katz, myself, and for only the second time, congregants in our midst, outdoors, tomorrow at 9:30, starting a little earlier.
By reservation, right?
By reservation only, with assigned seating in advance to maintain physical distancing. We are still in COVID, and it is our patriotic duty to take care of each other. And so tomorrow, 9:30 for those. Thanks for making that clear, Carl. Those who have already made RSVP. Now, if you did an RSVP tomorrow and you're going like, I missed that one, know that the first day of Passover, which is a Sunday, and the last day of Passover, which is a Sunday, we will likewise be outdoors, and it's limited to 30 people as we're still getting oriented. Do RSVP. Call the office. I hope you can go to the website and find the link to RSVP for Passover, first and last day. And Carl and I are getting ready to host together via Zoom a Passover Seder on that first...
The second Seder.
Right, Sunday night.
Sunday night, right.
And last year, Carl and I did it together in our office with the help of a good technician. We weren't that comfortable yet with, it was only a few weeks into quarantine.
Right.
And now Carl has a studio at home. And you will hear Carl zooming from home. My wife Linda and I, as Nancy and Carl, will be in their respective homes. And you are invited to join us. What would you add to that, Carl?
Oh, I look forward to it. Please sing with us. If you're sitting at your own Seder table, by all means, throw that computer on next to the Seder plate and sing along with us. We'd love to have you, and we'd love to be invited into your home that way.
And in that regard, Sunday morning, back to our website. I hope it's on the website. It's not, it's an email if you're a congregant. I will be teaching from 10 to 11, and I paused to smile because when I looked at the letter this morning to prepare for my teaching, what I saw on the letter, which is also on the website, are many Passover songs that Carl has recorded already, and we have a whole portfolio of Carl's songs, some of my teachings, to prepare for the Seder and perhaps to first night to have us sing, at your Seder table. But join us Sunday night, second Seder, this time different than last year. It will be celebration amidst plague.
I like it. I look forward to it. We close tonight with a prayer for the good angels to visit your Shabbos table. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharit, Malachi Elyon. Mi melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu boachem l'shalom malachei hashalom malachei elyon mi melech malchei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Baruch Uni L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzechem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yai, 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 yai. Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi.
Shabbat Shalom, Carl. And a shout out to David Cedar, Carl's son, who is having his birthday this next week. David, if you're watching, you are wonderful. To all, Shabbat Shalom.